Hello, boys and girls. Great to see you. Well, I can't really see you, but I'm glad you're tuning in to hear this first episode of Roald Dahl's The Giraffe and the Pelly and Me. Now, Roald Dahl is a great, famous author. He's written books like Matilda and The Fantastic Mr. Fox, and of course, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And this is one of his lesser known books, but I think it's delightful. And I hope you enjoy it. There aren't a lot of pictures, but I'll do my best to show them to you along the way. And let's get started. Not far from where I live, there's a queer old empty wooden house standing all by itself on the side of the road. I long to explore inside it, but the door is always locked. And when I peer through a window, all I can see is darkness and dust. I know the ground floor used to once be a shop because I can still read the faded lettering across the front, which says, "The Grubber." My mother has told me that in our part of the country, in the olden days, a grubber was another name for a sweet shop. And now every time I look at it, I think to myself, what a lovely old sweet shop it must have been. On the shop window, somebody has painted in white the words "For Sale." One morning, I noticed that "For Sale" had been scraped off the shop window. In its place, somebody had painted "Sold." I stood there staring at the new writing and wishing like mad that it had been me who had bought it, because then I would have been able to make it into a grubber all over again. I have always longed to own a sweet shop. Oh, the sweet shop of my dreams would be loaded from top to bottom with sherbet suckers and caramel fudge and Russian toffee and sugar snorters and butter gumballs and thousands of glorious things like that. Oh boy, what I couldn't have done without that old grubber shop if it had been mine. On my next visit to the grubber, I was standing across the road gazing at the wonderful old building, when all of a sudden an enormous bathtub came sailing out through one of the second floor windows and crashed right down in the middle of the road. A few moments later, a white porcelain lavatory with a wooden seat came flying out of the same window and landed with a wonderful splintering crash just beside the bathtub. Oh, this was followed by a kitchen sink and an empty canary cage and a four-poster bed and two hot water bottles and a rocking horse and a sewing machine and goodness knows what else besides. It looked as though some madman was ripping out the whole of the insides of the house, because new pieces of staircase and bits of the banister and a whole lot of the floorboards came whistling through the windows. Then there was silence. I waited and waited, but not another sound came from within the building. I crossed the road and stood right under the windows and called out, "Is anybody home?" There was no answer. In the end, it began to get dark, so I had to turn away and start walking home. But you can bet your life nothing was going to stop me from hurrying back there again tomorrow morning to see what the next surprise was going to be. When I got back to the grubber house the next morning, the first thing I noticed was the new door. The dirty old brown door had been taken out, and in its place, someone had fitted a brand new red one. The new door was fantastic. It was twice as high as the other one had been, and it looked ridiculous. I couldn't begin to imagine who would want a tremendous tall door like that unless he was a giant. As well as this, somebody had scraped away the sold notice and on the shop window, and now there was a whole lot of different writing all over the glass. I stood there reading it and trying to figure out on earth what it all meant. And here's what it said. The Ladderless Window Cleaning Company. Get your windows cleaned without a lot of dirty ladders leaning up against your house. I tried to catch some sign or sound of movement inside the house, but there was none until all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed that one of the windows on the top floor was slowly beginning to open outwards. Then a head appeared at the open window. I stared at the head. The head stared back at me with big, round, dark eyes. Suddenly, a second window was flung wide open, and of all the crazy things, a gigantic white bird hopped out and perched on the windowsill. I knew what this one was because of its amazing beak, which was shaped like a huge orange-colored basin. The pelican looked down at me and sang out, "Oh, how I wish for a big fat fish. I'm as hungry as ever could be. A dish of fish is my only wish. How far are we from the sea?" "Oh, we're a long way from the sea," I called back to him. "But there's a fishmonger in the village not far away." "A fish what?" "Oh, a fishmonger." "Now, what on earth would that be?" asked the pelican. "I have heard of fish pie and fish cake and a fish finger, but I have never heard of a fishmonger. Are these mongers good to eat?" This question baffled me a lot, so I said, "Who's your friend in the next window?" "Oh, she is a giraffe," the pelican answered. "Is she not wonderful? Her legs are on the ground floor, and her head is looking out of the top window." As if all this wasn't enough, the window on the first floor was flung wide open. And out popped a monkey. The monkey stood on the windowsill and did a jiggly little dance. He was so skinny, he seemed to be made only out of furry bits of wire, but he danced wonderfully well, and I clapped and cheered and did a little dance myself in return. "We are the window cleaners," sang out the monkey. "We will polish your glass till it's shining like brass and it sparkles like sun on the sea. We are quick and polite. We will come day or night, the Giraffe and the Pelly and me. We're a fabulous crew. We know just what to do, and we never stop work to drink tea. All the windows will glow when we give them a go, the Giraffe, the Pelly and me. We use water and soap plus some kindness and hope. But we never use ladders, not we. Who needs ladders at all when you're 30 feet tall? Not Giraffe, not the Pelly, nor me." I stood there enthralled. Then I heard the giraffe saying to the pelican in the next window, "Pelly, my dear, oh, be so good as to fly down and bring that small person up here to talk to us." At once the pelican spread his huge white wings and flew down on the road beside me. "Hop in," he said, opening his enormous beak. Oh, I stared at the great orange beak and backed away. "Go on," the monkey shouted from up on the window. "The Pelly isn't going to swallow you. Climb in." I said to the pelican, "I'll only get in if you promise not to shut your beak once I'm inside." "Oh, you have nothing to fear," cried the pelican. And let me tell you why. I have a very special beak. A special beak have I. You'll never see a beak so fine. I don't care where you go. The magic's in this beak of mine. Hop in and don't say no. I will not hop in, I said, unless you swear on your honor you won't shut it once I'm inside. I don't like small, dark places. When I have done what I am just about to do, said the Pelican, I won't be able to shut it. You don't seem to understand how my beak works. Show me, I said. Watch this, cried the Pelican. I watched in amazement as the top half of the Pelican's beak began to slide smoothly backwards into his head until the whole thing was almost out of sight. It bends and goes down the inside my back and my neck, cried the Pelican. Is that not sensible? Is that not magical? It's unbelievable, I said. It's exactly like one of those metal tape measures my father's got at home. When it's out, it's straight, but when you slide it back in, it bends and disappears. Precisely, said the Pelican. You see, the top half of it is of no use to me unless I am chewing fish. The bottom half is what counts, my lad. The bottom half of this glorious beak of mine is the bucket in which we carry our window cleaning water. So, if I didn't slide the top half away, I'd be standing around all day long holding it open. So I slide it away for the rest of the day. Even so, I'm so able to speak. And whenever I've flown, it has always been known as the Pelican's patented beak. If I want to eat fish, and that's my favorite dish, all I do is give it a tweak. In the blink of an eye, out it pops, then they cry. It's the Pelican's patented beak. Stop showing off down there, shouted the monkey from the upstairs window. Hurry up and bring that small person up to us. The giraffe is waiting. I climbed into the big orange beak. And with a swoosh of wings, the Pelican carried me back to his perch on the windowsill. The giraffe looked out her window at me and said, "How do you do? What is your name?" Billy, I told her. "Well, Billy," she said, "we need your help and we need it fast. We must have some windows to clean. We've spent every penny we have on buying this house and we've had to earn more money quickly. The Pelly is starving. The monkey is famished, and I am perishing with hunger. The Pelly needs fish, the monkey needs nuts, and I am even more difficult to feed, for I am a geranious giraffe, and a geranious giraffe cannot eat anything except the pink and purple flowers of the tinkle tinkle tree. Oh, but those, as I'm sure you know, are hard to find and expensive to buy." The Pelican cried out, "Right now I'm so hungry I could eat a stale sardine. Has anyone seen a stale sardine or a bucket of rotten cod? I'd eat the lot upon the spot. I'm such a hungry bod." Oh, every time the Pelican spoke, the beak was standing and jiggled madly up and down, and the more excited he got, the more it jiggled. The monkey said, "What Pelly's really crazy about is salmon." "Yes, yes," cried the Pelican. "Salmon, oh, glorious salmon. I dream about it all day long, but I never get any. And I dream about walnuts," shouted the monkey. "A fresh walnut, fresh from the tree is scrumptious, scrumptious, so flavory, savory, and so sweet to eat, and that makes me all wobbly just thinking about it." At Exactly that moment, a huge white Rolls Royce pulled up right below us, and a chauffeur in a blue and gold uniform got out. He was carrying an envelope in one gloved hand. Good heavens, I whispered. That's the Duke of Hampshire's car. Who's he? Asked the Giraffe. Well, he's the richest man in all of England, I said. The chauffeur knocked on the door of the grubber. He looked up and saw all of us. He saw the Giraffe, the Pelly, the monkey, and he saw me, all staring down at him from above. But not a muscle moved in his face, not an eyebrow was raised. The chauffeurs of very rich men are never surprised by anything that they see. The chauffeur said, His Grace, the Duke of Hampshire, has instructed me to deliver this envelope to the Ladderless Window Cleaning Company. Oh, that's us, cried the monkey. The Giraffe said, Oh, be so good to open the envelope and read us the letter. The chauffeur unfolded the letter and began to read. Dear Sirs, I saw your notice as I drove by this morning. I have been looking for a decent window cleaning person for the last 50 years, but I have not found one yet. My house has 677 windows in it, not counting the greenhouse, and all of them are filthy. Kindly come and see me as soon as possible. Yours truly, Hampshire. That, added the chauffeur in a voice filled with awe and respect, that was written by His Grace, the Duke of Hampshire, in his own hand. And boys and girls, that is where we're going to end today's episode of The Giraffe and the Pelly and me. And tomorrow we'll have the next episode. That's Thursday. I can't wait to tell you more about what happens to this incredible cleaning crew. You won't believe it. Hope you have a great night. We'll see you soon.